crucial game against the Hawkeyes, who still have Big Ten title hopes themselves. Hi everybody, Dave Fleming alongside Chris Spielman as we are here from Iowa City on this Big Ten kind of day. Chris, Melvin Gordon spectacular last week, history made, greatest single game rushing performance in college football history, chance for more history today. He's 91 yards away from 2,000. He's within striking distance of the Big Ten single season rushing record. Before we hear from you, wanted to get Todd McShay's perspective because, Todd, Wisconsin's had this great tradition of Wisconsin running backs. Melvin Gordon, though, feels a little bit different, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has a special skill set. He really does. That's why he has a chance to be the first running back selected in the first round of the draft since 2012. But what specifically works so well is that his skill set fits the zone blocking scheme that Wisconsin runs. First of all, you've got to have vision. You're going to see here the flow of the play is to the left side. He sees right away that this linebacker's flowing too far, and bam, he hits that backside lane. That's a big-time recognition from a big-time back. Then the other thing you have to have is acceleration. And just take a look at this. Stick your foot in the dirt, explode up the field, 4.3 seconds. Now, I know it's a running start, but he also has a football in his hands, and he's also wearing pads. This guy is as explosive as any back you'll see. What's interesting today, though, is this Iowa defense held him to his lowest yard per carry in 2013. This is a great matchup.
Well, it truly is. Thanks, Todd. Just incredible numbers all the way across the board for number 25 getting ready to go here against the Hawkeyes. And Chris, so Iowa found a way to slow him down last year. Can they do that again this season?
Well, they can with help from their offense. Wisconsin's 2 losses this year, Dave. They held the ball less than 30 minutes, 8 wins over 34 minutes. But on defense, philosophically, this is what you have to do. And this is how they're built. You have to play zone defense. When you play zone defense, that means you have 11 sets of eyes on the football and on the backfield. Last week where they hurt Nebraska was they played a lot of man, Nebraska did. Well, Melvin gets to that second level, the defender's backs are turned, and he's off to the races.
Meanwhile, Hawkeyes offense, can they have success against a very tough Badgers D?
They can if they do this. I believe strongly that they need to throw the ball on first down. They have the tight ends and skilled players to win some matchups. And anytime you're successful throwing the ball early, you get that opened up running game, which they need to have to beat Wisconsin today.
So here we go, ready for kickoff. The Hawkeyes win the toss, and they want the ball. So they want their offense on the field to start this game. It's not as cold as it has been, although it still feels chilly. 50 degrees officially at kickoff time, and the wind is also not quite the factor that it can be sometimes here at Kinnick.
And that could help Iowa too, Dave, because one thing they want to do is they want to take about 5 or 6 shots deep down the field. That puts a little bit of pressure on the Wisconsin secondary and opens up some running lanes.
Jordan Canzeri, who is healthy this week, back deep to receive, but the kickoff goes over his head. It's a touchback, and the Hawkeyes will take the field first. And their quarterback, who has had a good year, Jake Rudock, has come under some criticism here in Iowa City. The offense hasn't put up huge numbers, but I think overall, Chris, Jake has played well.
Yeah, I think he manages the game well. He's capable of making every throw. He reads defenses pretty well. Just a little bit more consistency, and when you have open receivers, he must hit them, especially today.
Both of these teams will use 2 quarterbacks, so we'll see Rudock. We will also see C.J. Beathard at some point. Now the Hawkeyes beginning at their own 25-yard line against the best defense in the country by yards per game. But a nice hole for Mark Weissman, and a carry for just about 8 yards on first down.
Well, if you want to go back to the 1980s, way back when I played, this is the kind of football game you're going to see. Actually, 2 teams that will actually use a fullback. I mean, I can see one team using a fullback, but how many games in college football where 2 teams use a fullback?
They huddle, they use a fullback, they want to run the ball. Old style Big Ten football here this afternoon. And another handoff. Weissman again. He's got the first down. The ball came loose, though. Wisconsin thinks they have it, and they do. Second play from scrimmage, and the Hawkeyes turn it over.
Well, you're going to see here the ball security is pretty good. It's high and tucked up against his chin. And as you have players coming in, people running to the football, Michael Caputo, number 7, the leading tackler for the Badgers, is able to put the helmet on the football, deadens that forearm, Ball loose. Wisconsin, a strong pursuing defense there to fall on it.
Oh, what a play by Caputo. He forced the fumble. He recovered the fumble.
That's a double daily, a daily double.
And so now number 25 is on the field for the first time. Melvin Gordon alone in the backfield. And Joel Stave, the quarterback, will play fake to Gordon and rolling out. He'll hit Gordon out of the backfield. He gets across the first down mark. Then he has the ball poked away out of bounds. But it's a first down gain of 12 or 13 yards.
Well, it's a good call by Andy Ludwig, the offensive coordinator, for this simple reason. Anytime you can get a speedster like Melvin Gordon matched up with Bo Bauer, a linebacker in one-on-one in space, frankly, it's a mismatch.
And that has been a bigger part of his game this year. He has been catching the ball out of the backfield. Gordon on the verge of history. On the ground, 91 yards away from 2,000 for the season. And there is a fullback in the backfield. They'll give it to Melvin Gordon. Pursued, does find his way forward for a couple of yards.
Well, Dave, right there is going to, I think, to me, make his draft stock rise on the first two plays. Here's why. The first play, he catches the ball out of the backfield. One of the reasons he came back to school was to prove that he has hands. The second play, in order to be a good NFL back, you have to be able to make people miss. Right there, he made number 52, Quentin Alston, the fine middle linebacker for the Hawkeyes, miss in the backfield.
Could have been a loss or no gain. He got a few yards. 89 yards away from 2,000. He would be the 17th player in FBS history in 1 year to reach that 2,000 mark. Left side, he slipped. A flag throw, and he got hit inside the 25. There is a flag on the play.
That's that zone defense I was talking about. Last week against Nebraska, you had the corners.
Holding, offense, number 61, 10-yard penalty, second down.
You had the corners with a back turn. That time Maven was in zone, so he's able to come up and make the play. Big 61, Tyler Merritz, right here. And Wisconsin does a good job of holding. I mean, all teams hold. They do a really good job. And right there, he kind of hooked Ott, number 95, who's Drew Ott is really a poor man's Joey Bosa. He's a fine football player. He's a guy that you have to hold on because he stays active all day.
Well, Iowa's offense turned the ball over on their second play from scrimmage. Wisconsin, excellent field position, but now 2nd and 18. They'll give it to Gordon again, straight ahead, and hit hard again. Down to the 32.
And one thing I'm noticing early on is Iowa, they're committed to getting a lot of leverage horizontally. And by that, I mean they're not going to necessarily need to bring an 8th man in the box to defend the run. They'd rather have a little bit of depth, but make sure that they're wide. They don't want Melvin Gordon, whether it's bouncing the inside run out or just on an outside run, to get in the open field. Very disciplined with their eyes.
Well, it's good too, Todd. They have two big hogs in there, Trinka Passat and number 71 for them, Carl Davis.
On 3rd and long, Stave throws, and a good attempt by the tight end Arneson, but no catch, incomplete, and it's 4th down.
How big is that? Huh? Give the turnover, you answer the call. Well done by the Hawkeye D.
Great job by Iowa's defense. Wisconsin's field goal game is strong. They have a true freshman kicker, Rafael Gaglianone, who has kicked a 51-yarder already this year, and this will be an attempt of 50 yards. Meyer, the punter, is the holder. The kick on the way, and it is good. So how about that 50-yard field goal in the cold, in the breeze? Gaglianone gives Wisconsin the first 3 points of the game. So the turnover gives Wisconsin field position, and they turn that into 3 points on the 50-yard boot. Badgers with the early 3-0 lead. Two times these two teams have tied. They first met all the way back in 1894. And we expect a close, competitive game here this afternoon. Wisconsin got a turnover on the second play from scrimmage, turned that into a field goal. Hawkeyes will bring the kick out. Kanziri not even to the 15. Good kick coverage from Wisconsin. Special teams tackle, and not great field position for the Hawkeyes, who moved the ball on the ground nicely their first 2 plays, but Mark Weisman fumbled it away. Now a second opportunity for Iowa's offense.
Well, that's what they want to do, and Wisconsin hasn't played a lot of power running football teams, so their front 7 is going to be tested today. A different type of offense, because much like Wisconsin's offensive line, Iowa's offensive line does well with unity.
Weisman in the backfield. They're going to throw the ball for the first time, and it is complete out into the right flat. Cavante Martin-Manley, who is their leading receiver and one of the top receivers in Iowa history, for a short gain of 4.
I love the call. Again, first down. First down passing is key. One, because you're going to get a looser coverage on first down. You're not going to get tight man-to-man. And that's an easy route and an easy throw for Rudock to make to get him into rhythm.
Third in school history. Martin-Manley on the right side of the formation here. And on second down, they hand it to Weisman, who's tackled in the backfield. Nice play, Marcus Trotter.
You know, Marcus Trotter is the reason, about the second main reason why this is the #1 total defensive team in the country. Very instinctive. Now he takes the place of Chris Borland, and he makes a lot of plays. He's an outstanding middle linebacker, 5th-year senior that's seized his opportunity. Really like that kid.
Now look at those defensive numbers. This is a team that replaced all 7 starters in the front 7, having huge success again this year.
And they play well as a team, and they're well coached by Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator.
3rd and 7, pressure, the throw, and the catch. A dive forward, close. Damon Bullock. But he did not get there. It's 4th down.
Well, Caputo saves the day. And this is excellent recognition by Rudock, understanding the blitz, and they had it set up. Now only if Martin-Manley, number 11, can get his block on Caputo, they got to play. But Caputo has a nose for the ball, instincts, avoided the block, and got him down in open field.
That's 2 big plays already for the safety, Michael Caputo. That punt almost blocked. Now a flag thrown as the catch will be made, and then out of bounds, Kenzel Doe. But Wisconsin arguing that they blocked the kick. We'll see. Dan Capron is the referee.
Running into the kicker. Defense, number 58. The 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
See, Gary Anderson's making the argument that Joe Schobert was making. He got a hand on the ball. He's asking Joe, did you get a hand on it?
Let's see if we can tell.
I can't tell from that angle.
The previous play is under further review.
So they are going to take a look at it, and obviously the difference is if you get a hand on the ball, the penalty is negated.
Yep.
As of now, the penalty gives Iowa a first down, keeps the drive going. I don't know if you can tell.
No, not from any angle that we've witnessed so far. Now Joe is pretty convinced, and he's a smart football player. So if you do get called for running in the kicker, one of the things that you do is say, yeah, I dipped that. But you see that Gary Anderson went right to Joe Schobert. Did you block it? Then once he saw that he blocked it, then he called for the replay. You just can't tell from that angle, I mean, in my opinion.
The left hand, he definitely hit the foot with his hand. Whether he got the ball or not is another question. Dylan Kidd, the punter. I mean, it is amazing. Both of these teams have had huge problems punting the ball this year. Has not been a strength for either side. Schobert waiting. And it looks like we're going to get our ruling here.
After further review, the play stands as called on the field. First down, Iowa.
It's not enough evidence.
Yep. It's got to be indisputable. You just could not tell for sure. So the call stands, and the Hawkeyes get a break. They were punting the ball away. Instead, they get to keep it.
Chris, you mentioned earlier the shot plays for Iowa. Talked to Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator. They recently decided they're trying to get 5 or 6 plays where they go vertical, where they tell Rudock, the quarterback, hey, take a shot down the field because he's so conservative and plays such a smart game. Wouldn't shock me if we saw a shot play here in the next few plays.
You have Jordan Canzeri now as the tailback. They're going to give it to him and just not a lot of room. Tossed to the ground, and how about the guy who committed the penalty, Joe Schobert, in on the tackle.
Well, it's tough to run when they have 10 in the box. I mean, you're playing man-to-man defense. Now, they're going to go man-to-man when you have Smith and Martin Manley out of the ball game. They're not scared of Vandenberg. Now, when Wisconsin's in man-to-man, Greg Davis can look to utilize Doozy. He's a tough matchup for any safety or any linebacker that Wisconsin has. That's number 87.
Good pass catching tight end has been a big part of the Iowa offense. 2nd and 9 for the Hawkeyes at their own 28. And Doozy goes in motion. They will hand the ball off again, and again just nowhere to go for Jordan Canzeri.
Marcus Trotter again, Dave, reading the play. And one of the things he does a great job of avoiding blocks. We always look at linebackers, take on blocks, 25 guard knockdown, 0 tackles. Well, he has 25 guard avoidances and about 25 tackles. He's that good. He's very instinctive.
A guy who came to Wisconsin as a walk-on. His brother, who is also a linebacker for the Badgers, was a more heavily recruited player. Marcus has been the guy who has become one of the stars of this Badgers defense. 3rd and long. Martin Manley in motion. Rudock back to pass, and it's a quick hitter. Right side, cutting it up the field and dragging a tackler very close. And I think they gave him a spot where it's going to be a first down. Damon Powell with the catch and run. And it is a first down, Iowa.
Well, Iowa's offensive line, athletic and big, and they can run. And I'll tell you, they got a favorable spot right there, but Derek Landis saves the day because he had blockers in front.
Rudock, who's 3 for 3 in this first quarter. Weissman back in as the tailback. Short drop and another catch by Martin Manley. That offensive line that Chris is talking about for the Hawkeyes, sort of that old school style of blocking, experienced group, and headed by one of the best tackles in the country.
And you look at Brandon Sheriff, and I think Todd projects him more as a guard in the NFL, but certainly athletic and very physical. The thing I love about him is he finishes plays. He'll put a guy in his back in a heartbeat.
6 Outland Trophy semifinalists just named this week. Brandon Sheriff, the left tackle. 2nd and 6. Weissman avoided that first tackler and got a couple yards.
You know, on first down, we saw 2 short passes. Now, a lot of times, offensive coordinators, what they love to do is short pass. They're setting you up on first down. And going back to what Todd has said, is that they like to throw the short, thinking that the defense is going to think short on the next pass. Then you go for the shock play or the one over the top.
Greg Davis, the offensive coordinator, longtime coordinator for Mack Brown at Texas, has come here under Kirk Ferentz at Iowa. 3rd and 3.
The matchup here atop with Deshaun Smith.
Blitz picked up and a nice delivery from Rudock across the middle. And Vandenberg out into the open inside the 30 down to the 28-yard line.
Well, this is a man beater. The formation is a man beater because you're in bunch. So when you recognize man coverage, you get in bunch, so it's hard to determine who you have. Right there, when you give too much depth off the line of scrimmage, Vandenberg's able to find the open hole and work for the first.
The reason he's able to get so many yards after the catch, too, is great read by Rudock. He saw 7, the safety, Caputo, moved over right before the snap of the ball back towards the middle of the field. He initially was very far over to the left side. That made all the difference in the world because of the pre-snap read.
All right, Todd, I think that's sort of what Chris was talking about early. Very smart quarterback, Jake Rudock, who's pressured. He's going to throw, gets it out to Weissman, who makes the first man miss. Inside the 20, down to the 15. Nice move out of the backfield for the senior, Mark Weissman.
Well, Mark Weissman would rather run over you than avoid you. But he makes a good football player miss, and Trotter right there. And a good hustle play by number 47, Vince Beagle, from behind. But again, we're getting the first down throws. And that's the game plan coming in. I think it's the right game plan. And that way you keep that offense and those safeties from getting involved in the running game in a hurry because they're thinking play fast first on first.
This is the 11th play of the drive after that 13-yard game. Remember, the penalty on the punt extended the drive. The play clock was winding down, so Rudock and the Hawkeyes call a timeout. We'll come back and see if Iowa can punch it in right after this. History of this Hawkeyes football program.
It's great. I saw 150-pound dumbbells. Those are the ones McShay uses when he's dreaming.
11th play of the drive. I've never touched one of those. Tight end in motion. Weissman with the handoff, and he'll get stacked up at about the 13-yard line. Marcus Trotter again in on a tackle.
Well, Weissman is a fullback playing running back, and he's very effective at what he does. But there are times where he misses holes and opportunities. But that's who he is. They know who he is, and Mark knows who he is. And he's one of those guys that's a competitor too, and he fumbled the ball. He gets angry. And when he gets angry, he's a load.
Coming off his best week of the year last week against Illinois. First time he'd gone over 100 yards in a single game all season. 2nd and 8 inside the red zone. A play fake. Rudock throws and some contact. No flag thrown, incomplete. Intended for the tight end Doozy.
When you talk about Joe Schobert, you talk about probably the most fluent athlete on this defense. That's why he's able to match up right here with Doozy. The thing I love about it is he gets his hands on him, which disrupts the timing of the route. Might have had a little pull down right there. Oh, that's all right. You can get away with it, get away with it.
Says the former linebacker.
Yeah.
3rd and 8. Well, Iowa has controlled the ball in this first quarter, but trying to get into the end zone here from the shotgun. Rudock with all kinds of time. Now he's going to scramble. Rudock to the 10 and takes a big hit. Did not get the first down. Peniel Jean came up and not only prevented the first down, he put a hurting on Jake Rudock.
Yeah, and this is a good effort by Rudock. I like the recognition. Nothing there. Take a throwing lane, turn it into a running lane. Now either slide or get out of bounds. You're important to your football team, and you do not take those shots. And good job of Peniel Jean avoiding the helmet-to-helmet.
Marshall Kane, who also has a strong leg, the Hawkeyes place kicker from 26 yards, hooks one through. A long drive for the Hawkeyes, and Iowa gets 3 to tie the game. When we come back, record-setting running back Melvin Gordon back on the field for the Badgers in this 3-3 tie. This gray November day, a 3-3 score, 4:01 to go first quarter. Dave Fleming, Chris Spielman, Todd McShay, the kickoff. And Wisconsin's Kenzel Doe will bring it back and get tackled right around the 20-yard line. That means Melvin Gordon back on the field for the Badgers. Todd, is there a guy at the next level that Melvin Gordon particularly reminds you of?
Well, Chris and I are always debating these guys. Who do they look like at the National Football League level? I said originally Jamal Charles. I'm starting to think maybe more DeMarco Murray, which is what Chris told me back in August, so I should have just listened to him at the time. 6 foot, 6'1", 213 pounds. I think the big thing is, I think his running style is a lot like Jamal Charles, but DeMarco Murray doesn't have that exceptional speed when you're talking about beyond 40 yards. It's the least important aspect of evaluating a running back, but what we've seen is he gets tracked down, but from 0 to 40 yards, he's as explosive as you'll see.
Agreed.
Gordon, handoff, picking his way forward, did get hit hard across the 25, but a nice gain on first down. Jordan Lomax put the hit on.
Well, Lomax is doing his best impersonation of Bob Sanders because he's a thumper. And if there's another criticism, it's not a criticism, it's just his style. Melvin does run a little bit high, and he does present a target. He's gotten better this year from last year with running with his eyes over his toes and running with a lower base. But he's a tough kid.
7 yards for Gordon. as he creeps closer to that 2,000-yard mark for this season. Gordon right side and maybe a yard.
Gap integrity. Everybody go where you're supposed to go. Even though the ball is going outside, if you're called to go inside to force it to the unblocked player, which was Quentin Alston, number 52, you're doing your job. And nobody does it better than Iowa.
Third down and 2, and already getting loud at Kinnick. Stavi in the shotgun, and he will give the ball to Gordon, who's dragged down by big number 71. Carl Davis, a loss on the play, and Iowa forces the punt.
Well, another guy high on Todd's draft board, number 71, Carl Davis, playing inside what we call a one technique. Now watch what Carl does on the snap of the ball. First of all, it starts with the get off. He takes Volts and throws a vicious right hook on the shoulder pads of Volts and is able to get the TFL and make a play for the Hawkeyes.
Well, he just tossed Dan Volts. The center has been playing real well for the Badgers. Just tossed him aside. And 4th and 4, and punter back on for Wisconsin. Fair catch signal for Matt Vandenberg. And the Hawkeyes defense gets the ball back. Well, college football action tonight on ABC. A big one in the Pac-12 with that South Division still so competitive, and the inner city rivalry in LA. USC number 19, UCLA number 9 from the Rose Bowl, 8 Eastern on ABC.
You've got a couple competitors in that game, and I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the coaches, Coach Moore and Coach Sark. They get after it, man. I love it.
Well, remember when Jim Mora first took that UCLA job, he basically threw down the gauntlet. Hey, LA's been SC's city. We're going to take it back.
They need to. You want to build something, you got to get the people believing that you're going to do it a different way, and he does.
Well, last year they went to the Coliseum and really took it to USC.
We did that game last year.
A little pitch back play. And Wisconsin's defense reading it well. Akram Wadley, who is an exciting young player, doesn't get a lot of touches, got back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, they want him to get a lot of touches. The problem is there's a little bit of a trust factor with Akram. That's holding on to the football. He's had some fumbling issues earlier in the year, but I think a future star for the Hawkeyes. Very explosive.
Good defense from the Badgers. 2nd and 10. Rudock will come under center. Weisman, the tailback. That's a tight end, Jake Duzey, in motion. Weisman straight ahead. Duzey put a block on, and Weisman maybe with a 4-yard second down run. Peniel Jean, who had a big game last week at home against Nebraska, made a lot of big plays, and we've seen him make a couple of good plays already in this one.
Well, Wisconsin has the luxury of putting 2 guys inside that tackle box. But here's the thing. They're getting a lot of man-to-man. So they're daring Iowa to throw the ball over the top because they're lining up and they're putting their safeties 9 yards off the ball, locking their corners out. So Iowa does have to take one of those shot plays pretty soon, especially in 1st and 2nd down when they're getting man-to-man.
Now it's 3rd and 5. 2 for 4 so far on 3rd down against one of the best 3rd down defenses in the country. The blitz picked up. Rudock going to try to run for it. He can't get there. In pursuit, Vince Beagle. Marcus Trotter was there as well. It's 4th down, and the Hawkeyes will punt. And before they punt, likely the end of quarter number 1. Well, 2 longtime rivals in the Big Ten who have played a lot of close games over the years, and it feels like we're getting another one here this afternoon. End of quarter number 1 in Iowa City. The Hawkeyes at home looking for an upset, tied with Wisconsin 3-3. I'm going to say it is not that guy.
Oh, man.
Takes a little courage to perch up top the construction crane. Catching the game, Hawkeyes and the Badgers. And a punt from Dylan Kidd is going to bounce. And he's down right around the 30. And the Hawkeyes special teams, our Pacific Life game summary through quarter number 1. And Iowa's defense playing some keep away with the offense on the field, but holding Melvin Gordon in check. 23 total yards for the Badgers in the first quarter.
Well, the biggest reason is the 10 minutes and 16 seconds time of possession. Remember, as we said in the open, the 2 games that Wisconsin lost this year, they had the ball less than 30 minutes, so that has to be a focus for Iowa.
So Gordon quiet so far. Now remember, last week against Nebraska, it was the second quarter where he exploded. He had 189 yards in the second quarter. Play fake to Gordon, and they will throw to the tight end. And big number 49, Sam Arneson, with the catch. Knocked out of bounds short of a first down. Well, Bauer pushed him out. Redshirt freshman linebacker. The numbers we were talking about in the monster record-setting performance against Nebraska. Gordon, first quarter, fairly quiet. Second and third quarter, historic.
Unbelievable.
Never carried the ball in the fourth, or it could have been worse.
And they're the Huskers.
Hand off Gordon this time, trying to get to that edge, and he does get to the edge, but shoved out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. So a nice gain, not one of those breakaway plays, though. First down, Wisconsin.
They got away with one right here because Desmond King, number 14, you see him at the top of your screen. Excuse me, that's Greg Mangum, number 13, who snuck inside. That's where Gordon will make you pay. If you're a corner, you have to leverage the ball back inside.
Well, so far, Iowa's defense has done a pretty good job of that. That was an 8-yard run, 71 away from 2,000 on the season. Gordon straight ahead, takes another pretty big hit right at midfield. 5 yards on first down for Gordon, and he's a little slow to get up.
2 of the biggest hitters on this Iowa team are Jordan Lomax, number 27, and his counterpart at safety, number 37, John Loudermilk from Salem, Ohio, or Carrollton, Ohio. John's a tough player. He's really a true in-the-box safety. And watch his head up, bring your feet. Look at that face mask up. Avoid penalties and avoid injuries.
John Loudermilk, son of a great longtime NFL player, Kirk Loudermilk. Gordon, left side, will fight his way forward, and they're going to spot him just short of the first down. That was the other safety you were just talking about, Jordan Lomax.
That's what they have to be strong in. I mean, Iowa likes to play a lot of 8-man fronts, so they're going to have their safeties active and involved. And right now, they're doing a good job of winning the one-on-one battles with Gordon. That's what he's so good at, making a safety miss in the hole and off to the second level. Tackling has been sound from the safety position.
Third and maybe a half a yard. Stavi hands off Gordon, who made the first man miss, and then he falls forward and gets the first down. Not spectacular, but a nice effort from Melvin Gordon.
Well, Bo Bowers has kind of had an almost game so far. He almost had the pass covered. He almost gets a TFL right here. Good move, but there's the power, Todd.
The thing you see consistently with Melvin Gordon is the vision. You know, even on that run, the initial run, he's always pressing the line of scrimmage. He sees there's not a crease, so he's going to keep bouncing it. And he takes a lot of runs that would be negative or no yard gains and winds up making them 2 or 3 yards. That adds up over the course of 4 quarters.
Well, at least for this play, Gordon on the sideline. Corey Clement gets the carry, and he just had nowhere to go.
Bo Bowers making me eat my words. Good job that time. Pinching inside, beating his man one-on-one. Getting a tackle for loss. Well, made up for it.
One thing, he's active in this game. Hasn't taken advantage of all those opportunities. Now we see for the first time Wisconsin get Tanner McAvoy, the quarterback, in the game. So Bauer and Iowa, they got to pay attention to McAvoy with his legs. Much more of a running quarterback than Joel Stavi. Hands it off. No, he keeps it. And McAvoy out into the open. A great cut back to the 10 to the end zone. Touchdown. Well, they keyed on Gordon. McAvoy kept it 45 yards. And that's what he comes in the game to do.
Well, they came out there with like a pistol wide ball. And earlier in the year, Iowa was hurt by Maryland. They game planned that, and Tanner McAvoy, as you mentioned, dangerous with his legs and made Iowa pay.
Extra point is no good. Gaglianone hooked it left, so the touchdown, but no extra point. And we'll see if that looms large. But Tanner McAvoy came into this game averaging almost 10 yards a rush, one of the better running quarterbacks in the country, and he shows you why here. 45 yards to put the Badgers ahead 9-3. Did video that touchdown, now posted on the Sports Center app, available on your mobile devices and tablets whenever you need it. 45-yard run from McAvoy. So now the Badgers kick it deep to Iowa. Kanziri in the end zone will take a knee. And Chris, let's take another look at that touchdown play.
Well, gap sound, not so much right here. Watch number 43 and number 90, Louis Trinka-Passat. On the snap of the ball, everybody has one gap. Now watch what happens. Freeze it right there. You see two guys in one gap, which is sealed. He's got to go out here because of this threat, and there's the open hole.
When I was studying this against Maryland, Maryland's offense ran it 7 different times and gashed the Iowa defense. They had trouble with some fly sweeps, with some misdirection, and especially this diamond formation, which, as you said, pistol with the 2 backs flanked on either side of the quarterback. Expect to see more of that from Wisconsin.
Well, they can handle it. I mean, they were okay. Trinka-Passat got caught inside because Josie Jewell, number 43, came over the top. So when Trinka-Passat got caught inside, you end up having 2 guys in one gap, and that's what Wisconsin does. They exploit that, and you can't make a mistake in your gap responsibility because either Melvin's going for 40 or Tanner's going for 40.
Right. I guess the big question is, if you had a problem against Maryland, you knew it was an issue, they studied the same tape, why haven't they fixed it? They've got to get it fixed on the sideline now.
Well, it's about execution, too. I mean, I think theoretically they got it fixed, but you got to execute it.
After a 3-yard run, Weisman on the pitch will dive forward across the 30 to the 31, about 4 yards short of a first down. Michael Caputo in on the tackle. Caputo, who forced a fumble against Weisman on the second play from scrimmage. That led to the first points of the game. Wisconsin got that turnover, turned it into a field goal. He already has 5 tackles in this first half.
He plays a very important position because they play so much 8-man front. He's always in that box, and he rarely misses a tackle.
3rd and 4, Rudock from the shotgun. Has time, nowhere to go with the ball. Now he throws over the middle, caught, and they're going to spot that ahead for a first down. That is Damon Bullock, the running back out of the backfield, is a very good pass catcher.
Well, and when you have a quarterback that doesn't panic and stays poised and sees the whole field, understanding, get it to the open guy, and a good route by Bullock, running that route beyond the chains.
Jake Rudock 7 for his first 8 in this game, and the Hawkeyes have been impressive on 3rd down. There have not been many teams that have had success against this Wisconsin defense on 3rd down.
Wisconsin's batting 26% on 3rd down defense. Excellent.
1st and 10, handoff, and this time Kanziri just a couple of yards over the left side. We still haven't seen one of those first down shots. We've seen some passes, Chris, on first down, but nothing down the field.
No, I think you have to throw it down the field because you have to loosen safeties. And they're out there and they're pressing the receivers. And so they're daring you to throw. Right there, I'll tell you, Jake Kiefer handled Brandon Sheriff. The All-American tackle, he got handled on that play.
2nd and 7 for Iowa. Short drop, and the pass left side, caught by Martin Manley. Out of bounds, short of the first down. Well, this Wisconsin defense, captained by that guy, Dave Aranda, 2nd year as the defensive coordinator for Gary Anderson.
I love him. I think he's brilliant. And anytime you lose your whole front 7, get the front 7 guys to come in, lead the nation in total defense. That's not only a credit to players, but it's a credit to him. Dave Aranda, an outstanding young coach, very bright.
Young guy who had his playing career cut short because of injury, but did not want to leave the game and has become One of the top young minds in college football. Rudock on third down again. He'll scramble, throw, and nobody home. Nobody in the area. He took a shot after he got rid of the ball. The officials are talking about this one. Was he outside the tackle box? No, apparently. A flag has been thrown.
This is the nice little bit of matchup zone.
Grounding.
They do a great job, 15. And there's nobody creating space or working away from the defenders.
Yeah, there was nobody anywhere near where Rudock threw the ball, and he thought he was outside the tackle box. You have to get outside the tackle box. You have to throw it past the line of scrimmage. He definitely did that second part, but not the first, and it's intentional grounding.
Yeah, well, that was a panic. I mean, he showed poise one play and panic the next, but he didn't get any help from his receivers. Once you feel bodies on you as a receiver, you see your quarterback moving around, you must move with him.
So from 4th and 3 to 4th and longer than that, the punter, Dylan Kidd, moves one high and toward the right sideline, out of bounds. The Badgers and Melvin Gordon to have the ball when we come back. Wisconsin on the road, leading 9-3. They didn't want to brave the elements. They went inside to play at flag football last night.
A little weak for me. Especially for Daddy-O. Daddy-O looked like he needed one outside.
The rusty toolbox is the trophy between the football managers. Now the big boys on the field. Second quarter, 7:40 until halftime. And before the ball is snapped by Joel Stavi, it is a flag on the field.
False start. Offense. Number 46. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Austin Traylor, the tight end, commits a penalty.
And that's their 13 personnel, 1 back and 3 tight ends. Austin Traylor does a nice job of blocking in line.
First and 15 with Melvin Gordon, number 25, in an I formation. Derek Watt, the fullback, in front of him. Stavi, play fake. Throws to Gordon out of the backfield, gets a couple of blocks, trying to pick his way to the outside. Got the penalty yardage back, plus a couple more.
Well, when you play zone defense, and Iowa likes to get good depth on their zones, a screen plays a way to attack that and get open field. Bo Bauer does a nice job of spinning back, not quitting, beating Kevin Costigan, number 54, to limit the damage.
13th catch on the year for Melvin Gordon. That was not a part of his game last season at all. He got 8 yards on that one. 2nd and 7. They'll give it to Gordon. Trying to push his way forward. Just not much there. 2 yards on 2nd down.
Just noticing, Dave, number 34, Nate Meyer. Really good football player, limping right now for Iowa. We'll see if he can generate any type of pass rush. He's out there bouncing around, trying to get a feeling back in his leg. But he's a total effort guy. You see him at the bottom of your screen right here, walking around. Anytime you see a football player pacing, he's trying to walk something off.
Well, they're front four, the heart and soul of this Iowa defense. 3rd and 5. McAvoy, the fake, trying to get to the corner, and he does. Out of bounds, first down, Tanner McAvoy.
Well, that's twice. We talk about the importance of playing team defense. You must leverage the ball. All your pursuit and help's coming from the inside. Maben, number 13, gets a little bit nosy again. Held just a tad by Arneson, but they're going to let you go on that. You must force the ball inside at all cost. That's twice so far. Maben has let the ball get outside of him. Lost leverage.
So 1st and 10, McAvoy, who's been a big factor. Now Stavi back in the game. He's going to roll right. Looking to throw, and he throws behind his intended target, the tight end. How about some big news from elsewhere in college football? Melvin Gordon last week, the record-setting performance. Samaje Perine today. It lasted a week, Chris. 427 yards against Kansas, a new single-game FBS record.
And I believe that's a true freshman. Perine from Oklahoma, making a record. Not bad. Wow.
It took 15 years for Gordon or anybody to break LaDainian Tomlinson's record. It took 7 days for P. Ryan to take down Melvin Gordon's record. So I hope you enjoyed that one, Melvin.
It's amazing.
By the way, there was a penalty on that last play, illegal man downfield. So a 5-yard penalty. The pass was incomplete. They accepted the penalty, though. 1st and 15, Gordon. Bouncing in, cutting in, has the ball stripped away. It's loose on the turf, and I think the Badgers found a way to get on the football. Well, now that number 14, Desmond King, comes flying over the pile, knocks one of the officials to the ground.
That's the umpire. He's up, he's tough, he's ready to go. They're used to taking shots as the scrum continues. Melvin Gordon put the ball in the deck twice last week. And right here, John Loudermilk, second man in. Once that tackle secure, you strip the football. Kenzel Doe.
Yeah, a little bit effort by Kenzel Doe, maybe the smallest guy on the field.
You know, Todd in his rankings, he has a ranking of competitiveness, and under competitiveness is fumbles. And he does put the ball on the deck a little bit. That's 3 in the past 2 weeks.
So at some point we'll get to Todd's grades on the skill set of Gordon. Doe, who just recovered the fumble, open left side, and a nice delivery from Stavy for a Wisconsin first down.
Well, when you have time to diagnose the coverage, which is cover 2, Stavy's job when you're protected is to read the corner, throw the corner. He's reading Maben. Maben's going to jump up short, not get depth quick enough, and there's that nice little cushion for Doe in between the corner and safety because the corner played short to deep as opposed to deep to short.
So nice job, Joel Stavy. Now go to the sideline.
That's their thing, man. That's what they do.
McAvoy, who from right around this part of the field ran into the end zone last time Wisconsin had the ball. On 1st and 10, he'll keep it, diving forward. He got 4 yards there. There wasn't a whole lot there, but McAvoy, a tremendous running quarterback. Quentin Alston tripped him up.
You always have to be aware of him throwing the football. 65 of 112 for 58% on the year is not bad. It's not the accuracy is what he struggles with, but he certainly can throw it.
Stavy will stay on the sideline. McAvoy, who began the year as the starter, and Joel Stavy was having all kinds of issues, really like a mental block. But Stavy figured a way through that and has become the starting quarterback again and has done a nice job. With the clock winding down, we will have a timeout on the field. So 3:49 to go until halftime. That's sort of a second level hint. Now Melvin Gordon, who had 408 yards. At that point, it was a record, gets the ball here, and he's going backwards. Much tougher in this first half for Gordon against the Iowa defense than it was against Nebraska.
I'll tell you, it's nice that you're getting some backup help on the inside tackles. Number 67, Jaleel Johnson, getting penetration. That allows big Carl Davis to stay fresh. And anytime you can get depth, and at the beginning of the year, quite frankly, David, this team had no depth up front, on the front 4.
Well, they've been pleased with Johnson and a couple others. You know, those top 4 are so talented. Hard to take them off the field, but you have to have that backup in place. 3rd and 8 for the Badgers. Stavy in the pocket, will throw, and it's caught. Caught at the 25 for a first down. That's Tony Fumagalli.
Well, protection, again, excellent. Stavy, a different quarterback, just throwing with confidence.
And you see a lot of times Iowa plays cover 3 defense. That means their corners and 1 safety, free safety, have deep thirds. There are a lot of ways to beat cover 3 beaters. You talk about 4 verticals, 4 posts. The other way is levels. Peyton Manning does a lot of that. 2 different ends at different levels of the field. Wisconsin just took advantage.
Stavy rolling out, throws on the move, and it is incomplete. Ball hit the ground, intended for Alex Erickson. You know, Chris, we've started to talk about it. Joel Stavy, it really is an amazing story for a guy, whether you call it the yips or a mental block, whatever, to find it mid-year and be able to come back and play the way he has played is pretty amazing.
Well, I think it's one of the best stories of the year in college football. We did the LSU game, Dave, and I'm telling you, in warm-ups, he couldn't hit the side of a barn from 5 yards away. He just had zero confidence. During the bye week, he went and he threw with his buddies at high school, came back, started throwing on the sidelines. Then he got a little more confident with the scout team. The next thing you know, he got a shot against Northwestern, and here he is.
You got to give him a lot of credit for that.
Wisconsin.
Now Wisconsin,
they're second,
calling a timeout here, and you wonder if part of that is if they want the officials to take a look at that play. We just saw it. We'll take a look when we come back here to Iowa City. Ruled incomplete on the field as we go to timeout. Let's take another look. Erickson, pretty good effort. So maybe don't look at it while we're away. 9-3, Badgers have the lead.
Wisconsin has called a timeout for the purposes of challenging the ruling on the field. The ruling on the field was an incomplete pass. After review, the ruling on the field stands. The pass was incomplete. Wisconsin is charged a timeout and loses their challenge for the duration of the game. Second down.
Second and 10 at the 25.
Well, Wisconsin took a timeout, and after taking the timeout, they did initiate a challenge on this play. Was it a catch on the field? Ruled incomplete. And the question was, did Erickson scoop the ball up before it hit the turf? You just cannot tell. And so the ruling on the field stands. Gary Anderson has used his challenge. Wisconsin charged with a timeout. They have one left in the last 2:24 of the half. Handoff Gordon, and again, good Iowa run defense against the Badgers star.
Setting the edge, Bo Bauer, excellent. Taking on a very good run blocker. Here's Bauer right here as we take on Arneson. Now watch him set the edge. He's not worried about making the play first. He's worried about bouncing that ball inside to the pursuit, and that's good, sound gap defense. Outstanding, beautiful.
One big play, McAvoy's long touchdown run. That's been about it for Wisconsin's offense in the first half. 3rd and 11. Stavi in the pocket, throwing and caught. That big tight end pushing his way forward. It's a first down. So he can block and he can catch too, Sam Arneson.
Well, they caught him in man-to-man, and they like the matchup right there on Anthony Gare, number 12. The problem Arneson has for a nickelback the size of Gare is that he's too big for him. He just uses his big body with a nice little push off at the end there to get the first down and a strike by Stavi.
He may be the best tight end in the Big Ten. He's one of them. That's the third down conversion on this drive. Not quite first and goal. Stavi, a little pump fake, and he's going to go down. Sacked for a loss of a couple yards. Now there is a flag back in the defensive secondary. And that one could be against the Hawkeyes. Louis Trinca-Passat got in on the sack, but will it stand?
Holding. Defense, number 13. Half the distance to the goal. Replay first down.
So no sack. Maben called for the hold. And that's a big penalty.
Well, you're going to see his right hand come up and grab the jersey, number 13, Greg Maben, right here. Now watch the right hand grab the shoulder pad of Erickson. Take him down. Now trust your training. You're in good position. You don't need to hold. Just trust your technique. I know it's difficult in pressure-packed situations, but that's when you have to trust it most.
So it's not, again, even with the penalty, first and goal. It's first and just a few yards. Melvin Gordon makes it academic. He's into the end zone. Touchdown. Well, they've bottled up Gordon for most of this first half, but 6 yards and he was not touched.
Watch 54 Costigan. From the right guard position. You see him pull around. Now watch him seal right there. He just gets his hands on Spearman. Nobody is there to bounce out to make the tackle, but Costigan, I think, in my opinion, is probably the most consistent offensive lineman on this Wisconsin football team.
12-play drive. Gordon, his 24th rushing touchdown of the season. So we haven't seen the huge yards from number 25, but the ground game has been big for the Badgers, who have gone ahead here in Iowa City.
Tough, a tough guy, great competitor.
Ricky Williams, 2 huge games, part of his record-breaking season. Kickoff from the Badgers, and Iowa with 1 minute and 5 seconds until halftime. They really were controlling this game, Chris, but they now find themselves behind 16-3. We know the Badgers are going to get the ball to start the second half. Melvin Gordon has been quiet, only 39 yards, but he just got into the end zone.
Well, the good news for the Badger fans out there is Joel Stavi's been right on and makes good decisions and has really helped them in this half. And when they're two-dimensional, they'll be unstoppable.
Gordon's got a long way to go to get to the 2-game total for the great Ricky Williams. Well, from the shotgun, Jake Rudock has some time. He's going to go down the right sideline. Incomplete. Good coverage out there. Hawkeyes wanted the penalty flag intended for Damon Powell. No flag on the play.
And we talked about the 5-6 shots down the field you want to take, and obviously you need to be aggressive here if you're going to try to move the ball down the field, but the problem is they haven't taken any shots when it's unexpected yet. And I think in the second half you got to pick and choose. You got to find first down, second down when it's not a pass-heavy down, and take some shots down the field versus man-to-man.
In the flow of the game.
Rudock throws, almost intercepted behind his target this time, but a late penalty flag comes in. Darius Hillary, who's the best cover man on this Wisconsin team, is going to get called for the penalty.
Pass interference. Defense, number 22. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Well, it was not on Hillary.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not a 22 out there.
Well, they mixed up the numbers. 22 was the Iowa number, the intended receiver, Damon Powell. It was on Hillary. That's a big penalty with 53 seconds left. The Hawkeyes still have 2 timeouts out to their own 40-yard line.
They have to win out on the edge. Right here, you got one-on-one matchup with the safety deep away from the trips.
Rudock is going to throw and almost intercepted again. 2 more penalty flags come in. Number 8, Shelton, Sojourn Shelton jumped that route, and he had to be seeing the end zone out in front, but could not make the pick.
What you're seeing,
pass interference, offense, number 87, 15-yard penalty, repeat first down.
is a prepared defense. They're jumping routes. They know what Iowa's running before Iowa knows what they're running. Right here, you're going to catch a pass interference, but watch the Wisconsin defenders jump routes. Look at that, they're running right two routes, and then they break on the football. It's a nice little matchup zone. What they do is they allow the receivers come into their zone, then they jump them man-to-man. What Iowa needs to do with a single safety high is work the backside of trips because you're in one-on-one coverage with a lot of field. They have yet to do that. They have that possibility right there with Deshaun Smith, number 4.
Notre Dame fans nodding at that pass interference call. Now Vandenberg could not hang on. Maybe in this instance, okay that he dropped the ball, 2nd and long, but the clock stops, 42 seconds to go until halftime. It's not going to be a big game.
Now right here, they're going to go conservative. Anytime you're in this type of situation, you want to avoid a big mistake, so they'll either run draw or screen.
Well, the fans here at Iowa this year, it has not been an explosive Hawkeyes offense, and there has been some frustration about the overall conservative nature of Iowa's offensive game.
Well, it's a mindset. I mean, their philosophy is punt, play, defense, punt, play, defense, punt, play, defense, score when you had field position.
Well, now, even before they run a play, they have to burn a timeout. So a few boos start to come in. That was not handled particularly well by Iowa's offense. Gives us a chance to remind you that ESPN's Monday Night Football and a pretty important matchup this week. The Ravens on the road to take on the struggling but first place New Orleans Saints. Monday 8:15 on ESPN Monday Night Football.
Well, a three-way tie, 4-6 in the NFC South. Wow.
There are some scenarios where a 6-win team, even there's one real crazy scenario where a 5-win team could win that division.
They get forfeit. Not allowed. You're not allowed. You don't.
Don't show up for the playoffs.
No. Just put another team in there.
Well, you played in the Superdome. Not an easy place to go play, but they've lost 2 home games in a row. Look at the Badgers and the Hawkeyes getting along in the stands. These two schools are close to one another. A lot of Wisconsin fans made the drive down today. What, 2.5, maybe 3 hours to get up to Madison?
Yeah, it's a great rivalry. It really is an underrated rivalry, in my opinion. I love just the way the teams play. I mean, they're old school. They get after it. They get tough kids. A lot of great players start out as walk-ons at both schools. That's a testament to coaching.
Huge part of the culture of these two programs. Well, the Badgers and the Hawkeyes both with a lot to play for. Handoff, Kanziri to the left edge, and he'll be forced out of bounds. Clock will stop at about the 41-yard line. Now that may encourage the Hawkeyes after a 16-yard run to be a little bit more aggressive here.
Yeah, it absolutely does. I mean, you're at the 41. Now you're not as nervous about turning the ball over. You got a manageable 3rd down situation, and you're down 13. You got to play to win, not play not to lose.
Play clock winding. Game clock stopped on 3rd and 9. Badgers showing some pressure. It'll be a 4-man rush, maybe a delayed blitz. The pass is caught over the middle by Vandenberg, but he could not get away from the tackle and did not get the first down.
Doozy, 87, working on Peniel Jean. It's good coverage by Peniel all over the big tight end.
So it was the tight end. Now Hawkeyes fans are calling on Iowa to go for it here. The clock is rolling, and I think they're just going to let the clock.
Why not take a Hail Mary?
Wind down. Now they will call a timeout, and so that seems like what they will do here. Kirk Ferentz calls the timeout with 8 seconds to go. 4th and 2 for the Hawkeyes, who trail by that 16-3 score here. Dave Fleming, Chris Spielman, and Chris, Iowa, I mean, they've done a lot of things really well in this first half. They have contained the great Melvin Gordon. Their defense overall has been solid, and yet they find themselves down.
Well, here's what they have to do on offense. They have to take shots, like Todd said, and like we've talked about in the middle of the game, on 1st and 2nd down. Then the other thing is, and we'll try to document this for you, when you have a 3-by-1 look with one safety and a corner pressed, They have to attack the single receiver side, and you have to win those battles. Deshaun Smith's an excellent receiver, but you have to give him a chance to win on that. If they do that and do it on first and second down, that could open a little things for their offense.
Total yardage, a lot of those 124 yards came in that long field goal drive that ate up a good chunk of the first quarter. The Badgers have dominated since then.
You see Wisconsin has 4 across the board down on the goal line to protect the Hail Mary.
So what should be the final play of the half, it's a throw over the middle. Smith with the catch. Now the clock will stop with 1 second. But they got to get lined up, and they will wind as soon as they put the ball down. They're not going to be able to get this play off. You're not allowed to spike it with only 1 second. And, well, as of now, they are getting the play off. Rudock will throw toward the end zone, and it is intercepted in the end zone, knocked down, incomplete. So Wisconsin had it, dropped it. Same outcome, though. No points on the board for the Hawkeyes, who go into the halftime locker room trailing 16-3. Well, the Badgers hoping to win the West in the Big Ten and move to the Big Ten championship. They can't clinch, but they can take a big step toward that this afternoon. And Wisconsin goes into the locker room with the lead. Halftime score 16-3. Stay tuned for the halftime report after these messages. Home against their longtime Big Ten rivals, the 16th ranked Badgers of Wisconsin, and Wisconsin took control in the second quarter. They lead this game at 16-3. Melvin Gordon, who had a huge game last week against Nebraska, has been contained here this afternoon. Just 39 yards on the ground. Dave Fleming, Chris Spielman back with you. And Chris, a lot of good things for Iowa. Their defense played well, and yet that offense has got to get it going.
They had a few breakdowns where Tatum McEvoy took it around for 45, but defensively they're okay. I think offensively what they need to do, and I'm going back to the opening statement of the game, they have to throw on first down. And you have to throw routes beyond 5 yards. And the reason being, Dave, is you have to loosen up safeties. I do think they have the talent to do that, but until they do it, Wisconsin's just going to challenge them. And if they're not challenged back, it plays to Wisconsin's advantage.
The Hawkeyes also have to give the ball up to start the second half. They won the toss and took the ball to begin the game. So the Badgers offense on the field. Todd McShay down on the field. Todd, you have to give Iowa's defense credit for the way they've handled Melvin Gordon.
They've done a really good job. The eye discipline we talked about early on, they're staying where they should. They're staying in their gaps, playing with a lot of discipline. And it's been effective stopping them versus the run. You see here, everyone's converging, everyone's got their gap, no one's trying to do more than they should, and the free man comes and makes the stick. Now what they've done, Wisconsin, is they've tried to get creative. You saw the diamond formation with the option. McEvoy keeps it as the long run, the biggest play of this game offensively for Wisconsin. The other thing to watch for, the passing game. Melvin Gordon has 2 catches. Wouldn't be surprised to see him more involved as a pass catcher in the second half.
And that's the only time, Todd, on that long run where they lost gap discipline.
Nice hole for Gordon on the first play from scrimmage of the second half, and he gained 6 yards. Loudermilk, another big hit. They have made Gordon pay for his yardage. He has taken some licks in this one.
Well, their safeties, for the most part, both Loudermilk and Jordan Lomax, have been excellent run support stoppers. And they've been able to take Melvin Gordon down in one-on-one situations. Not a lot of players can say that around this country.
2nd and 4. Gordon trying this afternoon to become the 17th player in FBS history to get to 2,000 yards in a single year. Gordon put the hits on there, lowering his shoulder pads. It gets the first down.
Well, this is the biggest difference in the maturation physically of Melvin Gordon. Right here, understanding to run with pad level, then you see that he now is starting to fall forward, and he has a smaller defensive back in his sights to line him up. He trusts himself to go ahead and get an extra yard by lowering his shoulder and falling forward.
Well, the power of Melvin Gordon. 1st and 10, Badgers. Joel Stave, the quarterback, under center. A little pass fake, and Gordon gets it back to the line of scrimmage. Let's bring back in Todd McShay. Todd, how about that scouting report, those grades for Gordon?
Well, the first thing that's really jumped out is his toughness and the way he's lowering his shoulder. He's just improved in terms of his competitiveness and that power balance grade. See the A- for patience and vision. We've seen that all game long. We've talked about it. The agility acceleration is what separates him. And it was a D+ grade for the passing game coming into the year, and he's worked it up to a C. So that's been a big improvement in Melvin Gordon's game.
Well, the other thing, Todd, that I would add to his arsenal is the fact that he's knowledge of the game and understanding blocking schemes and reading defenses while he's running.
Using the pass game. Now, Iowa thought they got the ball out there, and Desmond King cannot believe that he didn't come up with that turnover. Alex Erickson with the catch for a short gain. Well, let's take a look and see what King was talking about.
Well, his forward progress is stopped and the whistle was blown. It was a good effort by King. I love the fact that they all go for the football, especially the second man in on the tackle. He secures the tackle first, then tries to strip the ball, and here comes Loudermilk to clean up. Big third down.
Hawkeyes trailing, trying to get the ball back. McAvoy fakes, keeps. McAvoy hit hard and stopped short by about a yard. Well, that's good defense. Loudermilk again in on a hard hit, and he peels himself up off the turf.
They get a 1-2, Dave. Loudermilk hits him first, and Lomax comes up and seals the deal. Now that's a thumper. I mean, he's the closest thing that Iowa's had to Bob Sanders since Bob Sanders, because he doesn't miss. He's an outstanding open field tackler.
Well, a little worse for the wear after that one, but he comes off the field, and the officials sort of helping him off. He's got 8 tackles in this game.
Watch here. John Loudermilk's going to hit him from outside in, and there's Lomax, who ends up decleating McAvoy. But again, outstanding tacklers the safeties are for Iowa. And he'd be a big loss because mentally he's the guy that lines everybody up in that back end.
You're right about that. Now he still has his helmet. They haven't taken his helmet away. He had that little head-to-head, helmet-to-helmet sort of contact.
They took his helmet away. I'm sure his dad, Kirk, would come down and get it, put it back on him, because Kirk was one of the all-time tough guys I ever played against.
Wisconsin hesitated for a moment, then they sent the punt team in, and Matt Vandenberg will make the fair catch. That sends us to a timeout. Hawkeyes get the ball back, down 16-3. Selena Gomez, Jennifer Lopez, and many more tomorrow night. The American Music Awards at 8/7 Central on ABC. Don't miss it. Hawkeyes get the ball for the first time in the second half. Mark Weissman with a nice hole across the 20 for a gain of 8 on 1st and 10. Hawkeyes in the first half, 5 times they had the ball. First possession, fumbled it away. They punted a couple times, field goal, and then that last second heave at the end of the half. And they have not had good field position. That's been part of the problem for Iowa. Even when they have moved the ball, they've had a long way to go. Weissman gets it, and he's got the first down and more. Well, let's check in the studio with Robert Flores. All right, Robert, thanks. And yeah, I'm not sure that would qualify in Alabama country for getting it done.
They have a high standard down there.
First down, Hawkeyes, play fake. Rudock, is he going to take the shot deep here? He throws, incomplete. Everybody was covered. Intended for Martin Manley.
Sojourn Shelton, outstanding, trusting his technique. Number 8, working in the slot on 11, Kenyon Cavante Martin Manley, just outstanding. Look and lean and cut the receiver off.
That was a good time to take a shot there, and granted it was physical coverage and the receiver did not separate, but you got to put the ball out there. And sometimes, you know, I think that's really the weakness with Rudock. He struggles to drive the ball down the field, and the backup C.J. Beathard has done that better, although Rudock obviously a much better game manager.
And we haven't seen Beathard in this one. Here's a throw. He had an opening there, incomplete. And the intended target, Jacob Hillier, looking for a flag.
Well, I'm putting Beathard in the ball game because this offense is stale. It's nothing right now. There's no threat. There's no threat of throwing the ball down the field. Beathard brings a run element to the ball game, and he can throw a deep ball. And he's one of those hot and cold guys. But right now, that conversation that I'm having with my offensive coordinator, Greg Davis, if I'm Kirk Ferentz, get him out of the bullpen and get him ready to go.
He has been the more dynamic playmaker with the little better arm strength, with the scrambling ability. Pressure comes. Rudock throws, and perfectly in stride, he hits his receiver. Tavon Smith for a big gain and a first down.
Or take a few more warm-up pitches. Actually, a good job right here throwing under pressure up the middle, and that one he dropped in the bucket. And the first time, really, that Deshaun Smith wins his one-on-one battle.
And he was on time with that throw. If you don't have a big arm, you just got to get the ball out in time to compensate for it. I think a couple times he's been late on the down the field throws. That time he got the ball out immediately, and that allowed his receiver time to run under the football.
And I'm still thinking about Beathard now. We'll see how this drive ends.
But you can keep the bullpen warming. Kanziri stacked up right across the line of scrimmage. That last pass play, 32 yards, longest play of the game for Iowa. And the Hawkeyes need to turn this drive into points. They're down 16-3. And the clock is already a factor in this game. Both these teams like to control the clock. We're under 10 minutes to go, third quarter. And it's not like the Hawkeyes are built to play from behind. That's not their style of offense.
If they have any tempo offense, that might not be a bad idea to get into some type of rhythm.
Yeah, I agree with you. The tight end, Doozy, comes in motion. And a handoff, Kanziri, who just has had no room whatsoever.
Marcus Trotter, 2 in a row. Again, a very underrated football player. And I've seen him play a lot, and he's very instinctive. He understands angles. And the other thing is, it's very easy to make tackles, Dave, if nobody blocks you.
Yeah, it does sort of simplify
Yes,
things. The senior from Racine, Wisconsin. Linebackers have been the big playmakers for the Badgers' excellent defense. 3rd and 9. Rudock. Pressure comes, steps up, and way overthrown over the head of Smith.
Well, that's on Smith right there. He ran a zone route where he should have run a man route. Watch the route here. Now he's going to stop. See him looking at Rudock, and Rudock was right. Now watch this. When you're running against a man pressure, which he's going to get off the safety right here, he's got to break it outside. He can't run to his man and sit down. That makes the coverage very easy.
Well, Iowa on 4th down. They will bring Connor Cornbrath, who is the short punter, the pooch punter, into the game. Fair catch signal by Doe, and he catches it at about the 8-yard line. Timeout in Iowa City. Melvin Gordon churning towards 2,000 yards back on the field when we return.
Great football state. Not only with Iowa State, but Northern Iowa and the Unidome, the Panthers.
Now Kinnick, the only Heisman winner from Iowa, and of course we're inside Kinnick Stadium, named after their all-time great. Handoff, Melvin Gordon out into the open, and Gordon to the left side. Huge run to midfield. Gordon will dance along the sideline, still going. And finally tackled inside the 5, and on that run, Melvin Gordon has gone over 2,000 yards on the season, the 17th player in history, and he did it in spectacular fashion.
Well, he gets his block, fittingly so, by 54, Kevin Costigan, the most physical offensive lineman for Wisconsin. And again, he uses a stiff arm as well as anybody, and right there, makes history.
88 yards. So there's the first true big play. Before that one, his longest rush of the game had been 8. And not only is he over 2,000 with that carry, he is the fastest in terms of carries in history to get to that milestone. Hit and spins around for a yard on 1st and goal.
Well, on that long run, what Wisconsin was able to do was create different levels at the line of scrimmage. Early in the first half, when Iowa was successful stopping the run, they were able to create a black picket fence along the line of scrimmage, and there were no holes to hit. When you have different levels and Costigan pulling around to kick out, that opened up the crease, and only a small crease does he need because he's off.
And I think that's a good point. I mean, Iowa has played him so tough all afternoon long. You make one mistake, one missed assignment, whatever it is, and he can take advantage not just for 8 or 10 or 20, 88 yards all the way down the field.
Timeout, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin does use a timeout, their first of the half. And we'll stay here and maybe take another look at that great run, record-setting run for Melvin Gordon and what, Chris, you were just talking about.
Watch Spearman's going to get upfield. Number 6 is going to get upfield. Costigan's going to come on and kick him up. But when Spearman gets upfield, you'll see the different levels created. See that? How there's not a black picket fence? He's too far up the field. Melvin Gordon gets the seam. And right here, he does a good job with his stiff arm. Is able to track down from behind. But as far as hitting this hole this fast, there's nobody in college football that's better at it than Melvin Gordon.
What a run from number 25 to go over 2,000. Fastest in history to do that. LaDainian Tomlinson, the last guy to do it in a single season. And some of those other names, not just LaDainian Tomlinson, Barry Sanders, Marcus Allen, Ricky Williams, some of the all-time greats on that list of 2,000-yard rushers in a single year.
Incredible. I do want to go back on Melvin Gordon because this is important. And Todd and I discussed this. And Todd, I want to hear your thoughts on this. But a lot of time pro scouts look out the wear and tear on a guy's body. And he's had this type of production with this little carries.
Yeah, and the nice part, you're right, over 200 carries last year, but he didn't have many carries earlier on in his career, and scouts like that fact.
Play fake. McAvoy trying to pick his way forward, gets back to the line of scrimmage where it will be 3rd and goal. It's part of the deal when you come to Wisconsin as a running back. They have such an incredible lineage, and it's just one after another, and Gordon had to wait his turn.
You know, Melvin's different than the other guys, and not to take away anything from those backs, and we saw 6 going back to 2000 drafted, including 2 first-rounders. Melvin has explosiveness that none of those other backs have, and when he came back this year, it was about getting stronger, being more physical, and in the passing game, and he's improved in all those areas. He should be the most productive Badger running back ever at the NFL level.
And they have had some good ones. Some of those big names have not maybe fulfilled all the promise at the next level. Iowa calls a timeout before this 3rd and goal play. So we'll step aside. Gordon, Wisconsin, knocking at the door of the end zone. The Badgers, a very important game in the Big Ten West. Wisconsin needs to win to set up a showdown game next week with Minnesota, which would be for a spot in the Big Ten championship game. And their star breaking out on this drive with an 88-yard run. Out of the timeout, it's 3rd and goal Badgers. Arneson, the tight end, in motion. And they will give it to number 25. 25, nowhere to go. He lost a yard. So the Iowa defense holds. Louis Trinka-Fasat, number 90, in on the play, and I assume that the Badgers are going to try a field goal.
Yeah, something rarely happened on that play. Wisconsin's offensive line never lets penetration. Trinka-Fasat had nothing to do with that. He was able to knock off coolers and make a tackle for loss.
Rafael Gaglianone from 22 yards out. Now, he did miss an extra point earlier in this game. He also kicked a 50-yard field goal. This one is up and through. So the field goal good, and Wisconsin's lead is up to 19-3. Now, I did want to revisit. Todd made a good point, I thought. We were talking about Melvin Gordon. I think it is sometimes easy to sort of lump all of these Wisconsin greats as system running backs. They've produced so many of them, and many of them have not gone on to great success in the NFL. But Todd, the point you were making was Melvin Gordon is a little bit different than those other guys.
Yeah, you know, I went back and looked last night, and there were 6 of them, that, as we said, that drafted going back to 2000, including Ron Dane, the first-rounder, Michael Bennett, a first-rounder, Anthony Davis, Brian Calhoun, Monte Ball, who's second-round pick for the Broncos, and James White. All of them very good. All of them, when you look at the next level, probably not as productive as where they were drafted. And I think sometimes people say, well, he's a Wisconsin back. He's supposed to have all this production. You could put Melvin Gordon in any system, any scheme, and he's going to be a big-time producer. And I think the smart decision, the mature decision that he made, coming back to school, improving as a player, and improving as a team leader, and catching the football, and blocking, and all the little things that he's done, made him, forget about where he's drafted, he's more prepared to go in the NFL next year and have success.
Almost like a squib kick that is taken at the 10 by Weissman, who will turn it out to the 30. Melvin Gordon bottled up to some degree in the first half, and he has broken out.
Well, he's just one of those guys that you can contain him, but he's always the threat to take the long one. And I want to go back to that system back, and there's running backs that are system running backs, just like there are quarterbacks that are considered system quarterbacks. But the thing is the eyeball test, the burst, the one cut and go, and the vision and patience. And you can't underestimate his intangibles. One of the best workers on the team. He hustles, he's a great leader, and he has a small ego. All that equals victory.
Rudock, that pass I believe was tipped. It is still completed anyway to Smith, but he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage, so the completion for a loss.
And Vince Biegel, number 47, is going to get his hands up in the air, pulling off of his pass rush to get the tip. And Vince Biegel is personally coached by Gary Anderson, so you better play well if the head coach is your position coach.
And Gary told us that Vince Biegel, he's got all this energy and enthusiasm, and he's found a way to sort of relax on the field, and it's made him a better player. That's a drop. That was a pretty good pass intended for Powell right at the first down mark, but incomplete. It'll be 3rd and long. The second-year head coach, and Gary Anderson has his team poised again to play for the Big Ten championship.
Well, you were telling me earlier about the job that the underestimated job that he did at Utah State.
Well, Utah State was a program that was just dead. They had not had any success in a long, long while. And a program that was great in the past. Merlin Olsen and many other all-time greats came through Logan. And he just totally rebuilt that program. Now at Wisconsin, Rudock hit as he throws, and a diving catch. Was it made? Yes, it was, by Matt Vandenberg. Now he is down, I believe, short by about a yard, but let's take a look.
Boy, a nice job by Vandenberg coming back to his quarterback, stretching out and getting that elbow down, inbounds, but short of the first down.
Barely.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field is a completion at the sideline.
Now, one thing, Chris, they can look to see if it's a catch. They can also look and say that ball was awfully close to being a first down.
Yeah, I think they're going to get a little bit of an advantage for the spot to move the ball closer to the first down. I think it's a catch right here. The ball's secure.
Yeah.
He maintains the catch and the elbow's down. The elbow is good as a knee, and he finishes the catching motion. Now let's see where the spot should be. So when you see that left elbow hit the ground, that's where the ball should be spotted. So maybe just short of the line.
I mean, to me, the nose of the ball is almost right up against the white line.
Yeah, the yellow line now is not accurate. It's not on the line.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Catch, 4th down Iowa.
Wow. So they call it a catch, but they do not adjust the spot. And I think that's a bad break for Kirk Ferentz. Now 4:39 to go, third quarter. You're in your own territory, Chris, but on 4th and 1, are the Hawkeyes going for it?
Well, you have to go for it because you're not going to create any explosive plays.
You have to, I think.
You have field position and you have a team that's ball control in Wisconsin. You don't know how many times you're going to get the ball back.
A huge play for the Hawkeyes' chances. Quick snap. Weissman has the first down. They use that fullback. Weissman ran behind number 42, Macon Pleva, and they get the first down. They've been good on 4th down this year.
Not last week. They struggled on 4th down. They were 0 for 3 last week. Overall, they've been good. And Coach Ferentz, that's the 20th time they've gone for 4th down this year. And they needed that for their confidence. Last week, they were 0 for 3.
Yeah, and all the rumblings about being too conservative, they are willing to go for it on 4th down. They have been all season long. Rudock taking a shot. Smith caught! Inside the 30 for another big gain through the air.
Well, the protection allows time for Smith to run a double move and a perfectly thrown ball.
And I was standing right where he caught the ball, and he got his head around a little bit late. Great job picking up the ball. It's a very underrated skill, is being able to pick up the ball quickly, adjust to it, and make that catch. Split second before then, he had no idea the ball was even in the air.
We see you down there, Todd. Here's a handoff. Canzeri to the 20. So a big hole left side, and the Hawkeyes now are moving the ball.
A little bit of a spread look for Iowa right there.
And I like it. You mentioned early in this second half, hey, if you have some tempo in your offense, maybe you need to incorporate that, and it looks like Iowa's doing it.
Well, normally that helps a quarterback get in rhythm.
Under center, Rudock on second. They get to the line quickly. Now he's making a change to the play.
Well, he sees the safety, Caputo, number 7, sneaking up in there. He's going to go.
He is going to throw the ball toward the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Martin Manley. "20-yard pass play, and that vaults the Hawkeyes right back into this game.
I take it back. Keep Beathard on the bench, keep him in the bullpen because Rudock has answered the challenge. And they found life, but the plays have helped him find life because they opened it up for him a little bit.
Now this is interesting. Still a quarter plus 2:45 to go. Down 10, and Kirk Ferentz looks like he wants to go for 2. The play clock is frozen at the moment, so they have time to get organized. It is still at the moment a 2-possession game. If you go for 2 and get it, in theory you're a touchdown and a 2-point conversion away from tying it. And that tempo that we've been talking about, that drive 70 yards, 2 minutes 48 seconds for them. That's lightning fast.
They needed that.
So the 2-point try here. Rudock in the shotgun will hand it off. Canzeri got knocked off balance. Second effort. He's in.
One man that struggled with injuries. Little nicks here and there. Finally full speed and breaks the tackle of Trotter, number 59, in a second effort to keep driving. Gets into the end zone. Now I want to show you, this is right here, Rudock identifying Caputo, the safety coming up. So he's going to point him out. What that means is this one-on-one matchup is going to have no safety help to the outside and man-to-man coverage because there's one safety deep, so you work the deep half of the field.
And that's the good decision making. Pre-snap, figuring out what you're looking for once you get the ball snapped and once you're in your drop, and then being able to isolate what you're looking for on the drop. A lot of times when you're younger quarterbacks or quarterbacks that don't understand reading coverage, they aren't able to take away a possibility with that pre-snap read. I think Rudock, for some of his weaknesses, he has a great strength, and that's his understanding of reading coverage and reading pre-snap defense.
You know, the other thing, Todd, in the last few throws, he's been throwing to spots as opposed to men. He's been a little late early on in the ball game. Now he's throwing his guys open, and his guys are making plays.
So Rudock and the Iowa offense down the field, 7 plays. They had stalled out since that long first quarter drive. This time they get in the end zone, cap it off with the 2-point conversion. as number 25 gets ready to get back on the field.
But the difference is now Iowa started calling plays to win the game, right? They're taking shots down the field, and even though they don't convert one, they don't bag it for the rest of the game. They come back to it, and they start hitting double moves. And it all starts with the protection up front, and like you said, and I said, they're going tempo.
Good booming kickoff for a touchback. The Badgers will have it at the 25. College football tonight under the lights at the Rose Bowl. It's number 19 USC, number 9 UCLA, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC.
Gotta watch Hundley running the football. He was good last year, and he ran the ball well last year against USC, but he's really turned that game, part of his game on.
You are right about that. He had a slow start to the year. Was taking some criticism. He's been pretty good these last few weeks.
Well, his offensive line had a slow start.
Big time.
He was getting hammered.
Big time. The big boys up front for Wisconsin. Back on the field. It is getting loud again at Kinnick. Under the lights. Nighttime now. And on that fly sweep action, Redwell Doe trying to get away. He cannot. Nice play, Greg Maben.
Yeah, and also two guys setting the edge. First of all, Bo Bauer gets a great read, number 41, beating Arneson, number 49, to the inside. Maben does not get caught inside like he did in the first half. Maintained his responsibility, outside leverage, make the tackle from outside in from the corner position.
Chris Spielman likes that team defense.
Absolutely, you have to have it against these guys because they're so explosive.
2nd and 14. Gordon gets the ball, cuts middle. Some of that power running from Melvin Gordon. He got out to the 29-yard line. Did pick up 8 yards on that carry, but it's still 3rd down. And this feels like a very big play in this game.
I would keep my eyes out on number 48, Fumagalli, a young man that has excellent hands that comes in on 3rd down situations, and they are a tight end oriented passing team.
Stavi in the shotgun. Short drop, looking middle, and it's caught right at that marker for a 1st down. Alex Erickson just enough.
Man, this is good recognition by Erickson, but that's soft coverage in a 3rd and 5 situation. You got to match up and play man.
How many times do we see receivers don't run to the 1st down marker? Very smart job there by getting there and making sure that he was at the 1st down spot in case he got hit and drove back.
So the clock continues to roll. 1st and 10 Badgers. Play fake. Stavi all alone back there, throws, and the tight end Arneson with the catch, upended across the 40-yard line. Once again to the studio with Robert Flores. Wow.
Yeah, Boston College played them tough last year for a half.
Yeah, they were up big. 2nd and 3. Gordon with the carry. Stopped and dragged down the wall of number 71, Carl Davis.
Right there's an NFL first or 2nd round draft pick move right there. If you're a defensive tackle, why don't I tackle the guard? And by the way, I think I'll tackle the best back in college football.
On to the 4th, Wisconsin leading the Hawkeyes in Iowa City. This crowd going once again. Dave Fleming, Chris Spielman, Todd McShay. Chris's kind of football game, hard hitting, good defense on both sides.
If you're Iowa right here, you have to play man. It's 3rd and 3. You have to give up and challenge them and stay in front of the sticks with your coverage.
A big 3rd down play for the Badgers. They converted just a few moments ago. Melvin Gordon will push his way forward, and it'll depend on the spot, but I think he got there. It's close. Well, looking at that spot, maybe just a fraction short.
It's certainly worth the measurement.
Yeah, I would know.
Oh, I don't know.
How about the referee just saying 4th down? So now Gary Anderson. Gut check time for the head coach. Has got to make this decision.
You got the best offensive line in college football as a unit. You have the best running back in college football as a unit. I don't think there's a decision to be made.
Okay. Now 4th down at a yard, and
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field is that the runner was stopped short of the first down.
I think they got the spot right, because you're going to see on the replay where Melvin Gordon's left knee hits.
so we'll focus on that left knee and see where the ball is when that happens.
Watch the left knee if you can catch it come into your screen. Or that's the right knee, excuse me, or both knees hit. And so I think it's actually a perfect spot by the officials. Watch both knees hit the ground. Right there, and the ball is definitely short of the line. That's an excellent spot by the officials.
I mean, Gordon did well just to get as close as he did. Yeah, you sort of obscured Austin Traylor, the tight end, right in front of Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, but that first angle or that view showed that he was short of the line.
Yeah, the knee will touch just there.
But you can't see the ball from that angle. But the first view that we watched, he was short.
So meanwhile, while they look at this, the Wisconsin offense.
After further review, the play stands as called on the field. 4th down.
And I think you read it right. It was a good spot. And the Iowa defense get to think about this 4th down play.
Well, you know, I think for me,
they're going to punt.
Well, and I understand both sides of it. I understand if you want to go for it, and I understand punting football. For me, I would go for it. But then again, I had Beathard going into the 3rd quarter. Rudock takes him down the field.
Bullpen was warming up.
Yep. Keep him alive, though. You never know.
Drew Meyer, and this has been a problem for the Badgers. That a low returnable punt, but good coverage from Wisconsin special teams. That was dangerous. Matt Vandenberg just really had nowhere to go, though. That's the kind of punt where you see a return set up, not there.
Let's see what Iowa does now. Do they keep the tempo and keep attacking down the field? They have the crowd into it. The offensive linemen, I'll tell you, when they went in for that 2-point play, Dave, they were jumping around, happy, excited. That gets them going now.
Just a 1-possession game. They went for 2. They got the 2 to take it from 10 to 8, 19-11. Just a minute or so into the 4th quarter. It has been Jake Rudock all the way for Iowa. And you know, Melvin Gordon would have liked to have gone for it on 4th and a half a yard. Hawkeyes have the ball back. Rudock looking to pass, and he's got his man caught. They take another shot, and it's complete to Matt Vandenberg.
This is on Darius Hillary. You don't give up the inside, especially with no safety help. He has nobody behind him, and you give up the inside. Vandenberg takes advantage of the poor alignment by Hillary. Hillary jumps outside. Vandenberg runs the seam inside. Gene, the safeties, run off, which creates space for Rudock to fit it right in there.
Now, how about the pass game for the Hawkeyes? It has just come to life.
Because they're attacking downfield and they're throwing on 1st down.
Man in motion, and another play fake, another 1st down pass. Rudock going downfield again. This time it's the tight end, Jake Duzey.
Well, Caputo got lost in coverage. And Duzey's just going to run a little wheel route, and Caputo loses him. Has his eyes caught in the backfield where he's responsible for the wheel route.
And 2 throws in a row with really good trajectory and ball placement. Trajectory was important on the first throw because if he leads it up there, then you give the defensive back time to get back in the play. He put it on a line, and that allowed the receiver to take advantage of having him on his back. There, he just put it on the wide receiver because he had a soft spot in the cover too.
Kanziri gets the carry on 1st down for maybe 3 after the 33-yard pass play.
This is the area where you can't settle for field goals because of your offense. Even though you've had some success as of late, they've had trouble punching it in once they got into red zone. One of the keys to the game was red zone touchdowns against Wisconsin, not red zone field goals.
Dave Aranda, the defensive coordinator of one of the best defenses in the country, concerned. They gave him a good spot. That was a 4-yard run on first down. Now the play clock is winding down. Down to 2. Rudock gets the ball in time. He'll throw. It's tipped up and incomplete. A nervous moment for the Hawkeyes. Warren Herring.
He wanted Vandenberg working on Caputo, but Caputo did a great job. You see up at the top of your screen, number 7, Caputo knocked him off of his route, taking advantage of the college rules where you can bump a guy down the field. Well executed.
And it might not have even been a hand. You see, that's what Chris is talking about. That one might have hit Warren Herring right in the face mask. Wearing the white face mask today, the Badgers. So now a big 3rd down and 6. From the shotgun, Rudock throws toward the end zone, and a lot of contact. Here come the flags. That was an easy call. Intended for Smith. Darius Hillary there.
Well, Hillary's going to say that Smith grabbed him. Right there. See, Smith got away with one right there. And that's a veteran play by Smith. Now, that should be offensive interference. And they're not going to call offensive interference. Well, maybe they will. Let's see, because Hillary was correct. If they call it, that's a great call and great vision by these officials.
Now they're taking a little extra time to talk about this one.
Now,
pass interference. Defense, number 5.
It's a miss.
15-yard penalty.
Yep.
Automatic first down.
The point you were making is a good one. It was subtle, but that pull drove Hillary right into it.
It's a big miss by the officials. And I don't blame Smith for trying to get an edge. See that pull right there? He pulls Hillary in to create the interference. That's an NFL move by Smith. I mean, that's a crafty, veteran, sneaky move. Good play.
I mean, what a big difference. If that call goes against Iowa, Hawkeyes may be out of field goal range. Instead, it's 1st and goal, 2 yards away from having a chance to tie the game.
And it's an awful call by the officials. It's just a flat-out miss, and they'll be here about it.
From the I formation, Weissman hit almost right as he got the ball, trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. Derek Landish, number 30, linebacker, in on the tackle. Well, we're in the 4th quarter, and obviously these are huge plays. The Hawkeyes, if they can punch it in, would have a chance. 2-point try to tie the game.
They like quarterback draw out of empty. That's part of their game plan down here.
Well, they have empty. Rudock all alone in the shotgun. They snap it to him, and he is on a draw. Rudock, end zone, touchdown. You saw it, they called it. And the Iowa offense down the field again and presumably going for 2 to try to tie this game. Six plays, 82 yards. Again, less than 3 minutes on the drive. Last time, after scoring, they went for 2 and ran the ball and got it in. We'll see if they decide to do that here. Weissman, not Kanziri, is the tailback. And now, look at the coaches, plural, including Kirk Ferentz, on the field.
Timeout, Iowa.
And Kirk Ferentz is not happy. I think he was asking about the play clock and wanting it reset. I don't think he wanted to call a timeout. He's screaming at the referee, Dan Capron, about that sequence.
Close games, those timeouts are valuable.
They only have one left.
They need to get the rest of the coaching staff back and let him handle the fight. That's Coach Ferentz.
Todd, did you see anything down there?
Coach Ferentz, I saw him run out the field. He was not calling for a timeout. He was yelling at them that the clock had started too early, in his opinion.
And I thought that's what the issue was. They had started that play clock so fast. But Ferentz, he ends up getting charged with a timeout.
So when you look at this situation, what does Iowa like to do on their two-point play? Well, if they move it to the side, which they do, that means sometimes they like to get room to work the wide side of the field. Now, obviously, you have Jake Ducey at 6'4", number 87 at tight end. He's a big target down here. He's lined up at tight end on the slot, standing up right there. A lot of little pick routes and rub routes.
Well, they are running right to that wide side of the field. Rudock will throw, and it's knocked down, incomplete. That's a big hold by the Wisconsin defense. Rudock took a hit, and the Badgers stay ahead. But impressive. The Hawkeyes offense has made this a game. Fourth quarter, Badgers lead by 2. Critical game tonight here in Iowa City in the Big Ten West, and Wisconsin, the 16th ranked team in the country, a team on a big time roll, is being tested here in Iowa City by the Hawkeyes, who have scored 2 touchdowns here in the second half, and it's a 2-point game. Their 2-point conversion try failed after that last score, so now they kick the ball back to the Badgers, who still have a lead. After all the booming kickoffs, this a low squib into the end zone, and the same result, a touchback. Time to take a look at our Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate, and a defensive player, Chris, showing off the Good Hands.
Well, it's 6'5", 315 pounds with the wingspan of a condor, where you can stand up. Kevin Costigan, a nice one-on-one blocker. Carl Davis proving why he's the worthy recipient of the All Hands.
Yeah, the Hawkeye wingspan not impressive enough in this instance to cover it. Condor.
Yes, Condor.
He has been a stud, and those numbers do not tell the whole story of his impact.
No, he's a good football player, and he can do a lot of things. Just the size, mountain of a man.
They have Tanner McAvoy as the quarterback in for the Badgers. He will hand it off. Melvin Gordon, left side. And more good defense from the Hawkeyes, not letting him get around the edge.
Again, and that's why they're so well coached by defensive coordinator Phil Parker. 11 sets of eyes in the backfield. I was asked last week, what would you do if you had to defend Melvin Gordon? And you have to play zone and 11 sets of eyes, because if he gets to that second level and you're man-to-man defense, it's out. It's over.
Well, Phil Parker has been around a long time, was a great player in his own right in the Big Ten. 2nd and 7. Stavy, now the quarterback under center. He'll give it to Gordon. Straight ahead, Melvin Gordon hit right near that first down line, and I think they're going to spot him for a first down.
Well, they're just going to do what they do because they trust what they do. Getting up to the second level, Derek Watt with a good lead block, and that time Melvin didn't get touched because there were levels created.
I think this is the 13th game we've done together this year. Easily the hardest hitting from the field level. They're flying around, helmets cracking. Spielman, you love it, man.
I do, because I can hear it in my headset, and that's the first time I haven't heard a pillow fight all year.
Stavy with the play fake, rolling right. He's going to take a shot. He does. Sort of heaves it up for grabs, and it's knocked down incomplete. Man, did he get crunched. Maben on the coverage. But I think it was Bo Bauer who put the hit on Stavy. He's sort of staggering off.
Yeah, Bo Bauer's come on and played a nice game. He's grown up in front of our eyes. Erickson with the double move, and Joel Stavy late on the throw because Erickson did have a step on Maben. And Joel did not get his shoulders squared to the target to deliver one down the field.
More of that hard hitting. And Stavy out of the game. Tanner McAvoy, who has a big touchdown run in this one from the shotgun. He fakes it, trying to spin away from the defense. Can't do it. Number 95, Drew Ott, there to make the play.
Well, you can say what you want about Drew Ott. I love the guy, but one of the reasons is because he's smart. He understands that if Melvin Gordon goes away from him, there's no way I'm going to make a play on the other side of the field. I'm just going to be disciplined, stay patient, and wait for McAvoy to come to me.
It is loud. Stavi back in on 3rd and long. Play clock down to 2, down to 1, and they do not get the playoff. Stavi wanted the ball.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
7th penalty of the game against the Badgers.
That's a mental error right there. A rare mental error for the Badgers.
Now 3rd and 13, and it'll get louder. We thought we were ready for play.
Please reset the game clock to 8:59. The clock will start on the snap.
So the fans a little unhappy, a 2-second difference. But they're behind. Those 2 seconds could be precious.
Well, the protection's been solid for Wisconsin all night long. They've handled Drew Ott, number 95. Drew Ott, good players, make big plays in big games.
Some shifting along the front for the Hawkeyes. 3rd and 13. Stavi heaves one up, and Melvin Gordon with the catch. Gordon will be tackled inside the 35. The big play in the pass game for number 25, Melvin Gordon.
Well, Jordan Lomax is going to get caught with his eyes in the backfield. Why, I don't know, because he's on the blitz, but he has to come off the blitz if Gordon releases.
Now, Todd has talked in this game about how much better that part of Melvin Gordon's game has been this year, coming back to school, and he has been a much better receiver as a running back. The kid who originally committed to Iowa ended up at Wisconsin and has been one of the all-time greats. Stavi pressured, and he dumps it off to Gordon again, who makes the first man miss and then is drilled inside the 25. And I think he did get the first down. It's close.
And part of your job as a running back is just to react to what's happening with the play. You're rarely the primary target. I think the big difference I'm seeing in Gordon, even from early this season, is his awareness, understanding what's going on with the play, moving when it comes to scramble rules. That's what you call it when the quarterback's moving around, working back to the quarterback. We've seen the last 2 plays. He's gotten himself in good position as a route runner.
Well, what he did there, 2 things, Todd. He chipped on Drew Ott, then he went out into the route. So he accomplished 2 important parts of the play in 1 move.
Gordon picking his way forward, gets to the outside. Melvin Gordon to the end zone, touchdown. But just when the Badgers needed him, number 25 on this drive through the air and on the ground, 23 yards, his 2nd touchdown of the game.
And it comes back to their bread and butter play. Just take you back to John Riggins and the Washington Redskins, the old counter OT, but they add an extra element into it with the tight end coming, so they actually have 3 lead blockers on this play. This is Wisconsin's bread and butter play, and they probably run it, and he's run it, I bet you, 450 times in his career. And that's not hyperbole. That's the play they love.
Extra point up and good. They missed one earlier, not this time, and Wisconsin back up by a 2-score margin, 26-17 in the 4th quarter. Melvin Gordon turning it on in the 2nd half. He and the Badgers out in front. And they got their wrestling season started just across the way last night. A very cool event.
Yeah, I never wrestled, but I state this unequivocally. Wrestlers are the toughest athletes in the world, both mentally and physically, by far. They're warriors.
Yeah, they have such a history of success in that program here on this campus.
Dan Gable, Munich.
They love taking a look at as they got their season started just yesterday. Kickoff with Iowa now back down by 9, 26-17, and more good kick coverage. Our Pacific Life game summary. It has been a contested, hard-hitting, defensive-oriented battle. The Hawkeyes offense, though, has come to life in the second half, and especially through the air. Last 2 times they've had the ball, 2 long, quick touchdown drives. But number 25, Melvin Gordon, 183 rush yards, just 18 away from the single-season Big Ten rushing record.
He's just an amazing athlete. And the thing I loved about him, and Andy Ludwig, to his credit, they didn't get frustrated. They do what they do because they trust what they do.
So now the Hawkeyes have to answer. Rudock pressured, throws, and Canzeri has it, cuts it upfield, out into the open, makes a move, gets tackled from behind, but all the way out across the 40 to the 41. 27 yards on the screenplay.
Well, it's a great call by Greg Davis because you know that Wisconsin is going to be rushing the passer in this type of game situation. And give credit to big number 95, Arthur Goldberg, the big nose guard running them down from behind. But that's Wisconsin. That's the epitome of Wisconsin's defense and how 11 guys are accountable to do their job on every play.
In the shotgun, Rudock again, all kinds of time, another man open. The tight end, Jake Duzey, who's been a real weapon through the air, inside the 40 down to about the 36.
How about Jake Rudock coming alive the second half? And I'll give you credit. I'll tell you why. Because the play calling has allowed him to come alive. Because the up-tempo has allowed him to come alive. And his receivers are starting to create space between them and their defenders.
And he's made some nice throws. He's over 300 yards through the air now in the game. That one was just drilled in there. Pressured, and Rudock is going down. And they brought some pressure from the edge, and Derek Landish got there.
Derek Landish with his 7th sack of the year is going to beat Mark Weissman in one-on-one. This is the guy who replaced the great Chris Borland and just beat him around the corner, and that's not a very good effort by Weissman. He's got to do a better job of getting contact on him.
Well, the clock is definitely a factor. Nearing 6 minutes to go. Pressure picked up this time, and the ball is dropped. Devontae Martin-Manley had it and lost it.
I think he peeked. I think he gave a little peek to number 59, Trotter, right in his sights. And Devontae Martin-Manley, normally steady Eddie, consistent. Right there, I think his head popped up just a tad. He'll normally make that catch. He wants another opportunity.
Not happy about it. One of the leading receivers in Iowa football history. 3rd and 15, and a field goal would be a big play if they can even get closer. Rudock is going to scramble. He'll get a block. Rudock first down and out of bounds at the 20. Not known for that, but he scrambles for 16 yards.
Well, McShay always talks about decision making and being smart. This is taking your throwing lane, turning it into a running lane, and making a play for your team when one needs to be made. How about this Iowa offense? It's alive.
Looks different. That was actually a 21-yard scramble for Jake Rudock. So first down from the 20. Rudock in the pocket. He's going to run again. He's feeling frisky. Rudock with a cut, and he dives inside the 10. It'll be first and goal.
Again, just recognition. If you're going to play that deep and you're going to play Tampa 2 and drop your middle linebacker to the deep third, tuck it and run.
And sometimes good things happen when you start to spread it out a little bit. They've been in 3 receivers. They're taking their tight end, Duzey, and moving him out, flexing him out as well. It's opening things up in the middle of the field to run.
Tempo too, Todd. They're going at a fast tempo.
First and goal. Rudock hit as he throws. He's got that tight end, Duzey. Touchdown, Hawkeyes. Now the Badgers are wondering what has hit them here in the second half. The Iowa offense has been tremendous. Lining up for the extra point, down 3, and the kick is up and good. Well, this is a team known for its ground attack. They have done it through the air, and Kinnick Stadium has come to life. Rudock and company back down by 2. 1 to go. After the touchdown drive, Iowa has to kick it off. And it is worth remembering the Hawkeyes only have 1 timeout remaining in this second half. That will be a factor. So the kickoff deep. Doe will take a knee. It's a touchback. Jake Rudock and the Iowa offense, Chris, they have just come to life.
Well, Jake Rudock has made a believer out of me in the second half. And his receivers have helped because they've started to create space where no space was created in the first half. Not only did he do it with his arm, but this was the surprising thing that Wisconsin was not expecting. Jake Rudock making things happen with his legs, seeing the field and throwing darts to open receivers. A big difference between the first half and the second half is that Rudock has been on time, the play calling has been better, and the receivers have created separation for him to throw to open targets.
Melvin Gordon on first down with the carry out to the 31-yard line. Dave Fleming, Chris Spielman, Todd McShay here in Iowa City for a very good game in the Big Ten. And we do welcome those of you joining us after Florida State hangs on barely and beats Boston College, another team with conference and maybe more championship aspirations. Wisconsin trying to do the same.
Yeah, and Iowa's still trying to do the same because they're right in the thick of things for the West in the Big Ten.
Very much so.
And both teams have answered each other's challenge.
12 yards to go for the single-season Big Ten rushing record for number 25, who earlier became the fastest player to 2,000 yards in a single year, breaking tackles, and Gordon has the first down. It's not just been the breathtaking speed, the big play ability, it's been the power running of number 25.
Well, again, which makes him a non-system back is that he can take a 1 or 2 yard loss, find the crease with his vision, and burst through the hole.
What I like there, too, is the ball security at the end of the run. It's been an issue, 3 fumbles the last 2 weeks, but he understands the importance of protecting that football right now. 4 minutes, 10 seconds left. You got a 2-point lead. You cannot afford to give up that ball.
So a little timeout here on the field. Louis Trinka-Passat, one of the excellent defensive tackles, is down on the field for the Hawkeyes. And well, pretty remarkable how they have done that over and over and over again this year. Louis Trinka-Passat was helped off the field, but there he is on the sideline with his helmet on. Jaleel Johnson, who's made a couple nice plays, just a young player, sophomore, takes his place along the defensive line for Iowa. 3:48 and counting to go. Melvin Gordon 7 yards away from the single-season Big Ten rushing record. The former Badger Ron Dayne holds that mark. Play clock winding down. Stavi will hand it off to Melvin Gordon, who's swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage. Well, Tuesday night on ESPN, the selection committee will reveal its latest college football playoff rankings, and there's a lot to sort through. Not a lot of upsets, at least so far, but a lot of near misses and performances maybe a little uneven. 7 Eastern on Tuesday, presented by Chick-fil-A. Those latest college football playoff rankings.
Boy, I'll tell you, for Wisconsin, you trust Stavi to make the right read. A little play action here is not a bad idea because Iowa's selling out for the run.
They might be able to just put the game away. Stavi will hand it off to Melvin Gordon, who is stopped short of the 39-yard line. It'll be third down. Hawkeyes only have that one timeout. There was a disputed play when they were lining up to go for 2, and they were charged with a timeout and were not happy about it. And right now, that timeout is looming large.
3rd and 8.
You have to keep your eyes on Arneson, number 49. It's kind of a security blanket for Stavi. He's a really good route runner. In a matchup they might like, they get a linebacker or a safety on him.
Huge play. 3rd and 8 from the shotgun. Stavi has time. Stepping up. He's going to run for it, and he's going to get the first down.
Joel Stavi.
Something to be said about having a guy that's won a lot of ball games for you. That's a veteran that's been put in a lot of situations. Not forcing the football. Melvin Gordon pulling defenders away from him, and Stavi getting the first down.
And since he's come back, we talked about some of the issues he had throwing earlier in the season. Since he's come back and taken over the job, 5-0. And he's just finding a way to win. He's not making mistakes. Came into this game just throwing 1 interception in those 5 games. And they're not going to ask him to fling the ball all around the field and take over this offense. But when they needed a play a couple times today in this game, he's delivered. That was a huge play for Wisconsin.
His first rush attempt of the game, maybe the biggest play of the game for a first down with 1:55 to go. And we remind you, college football tonight on ABC. Out west in the Rose Bowl. USC and UCLA, number 19 against number 9. What a big game that is. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC Saturday Night Football.
We have Jim Mora going up against Coach Sark. I love it. 2 great quarterbacks in a tough rivalry and 2 tough teams. Very physical. And normally you wouldn't say that about a UCLA team, but Jim Mora has certainly changed that persona over the years.
Well, we have had a tough guy game here tonight in Iowa City. Stavi to the sideline. Tanner McAvoy, the guy who you sort of expect to be the runner, is now in the game for the Badgers. And the math is not looking good for Kirk Ferentz with only that 1 timeout, the clock running. And Wisconsin wants to take this all the way down. Hand off Melvin Gordon, and Gordon maybe a half a yard short of the all-time single season Big Ten rushing record. Stopped after a gain of 4.5, and that is the final timeout for Iowa.
You know, regardless of the outcome, I mean, both teams, both coaches, as Melvin Gordon just tied the single season Big Ten rushing record.
He did in his 11th game. I mean, they have another regular season game, which looms huge next week in Madison against Minnesota for the chance to play in the Big Ten championship game. While we have a timeout here, let's check back in with Robert Flores. Robert?
Wow. I was going to talk about just, you know, if Wisconsin wins this ball game, you know, next week's going to be another slobber knocker because there's no mistake about what Minnesota wants to do.
No. I mean, that will be a huge game. So Iowa, without that extra timeout, unable to do anything. They will take the knee and essentially end this game. Another look at our college football playoff rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Alabama tested, but they're going to win easily. Oregon big over Colorado. Florida State escapes Ohio State, and really that final score deceptive. The Buckeyes escaped against Indiana.
4-quarter game against the Hoosiers and Arkansas. I mean, we were talking about Arkansas last night, and I made the statement that they would be a strong contender in the Big Ten West. They're a good football team and only getting better under former Wisconsin coach Brett Bielema.
So the old Badgers coach having success, and the new one, Gary Anderson, comes on the road and has to gut it out. But the Badgers will get it done. A major road victory for Gary Anderson and Wisconsin against a game Iowa Hawkeyes team. And that sets up that matchup you were just talking about next week in Madison for the chance to play for the Big Ten championship. So the final score, 26-24. The Badgers get the job done.
At the end of today's game, the final score, Wisconsin 26.
And down on the field with the Badgers head coach, Todd McShay.
Coach, close one. Obviously,
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, some ups and downs. What'd you learn about your team today?
Well, you know, the toughness, deal with adversity, keep on fighting. Offense had to step up, you know, and go out there in a tight ball game and find a way. They get the ball back. I don't know if we'll stop them again. So I'm proud of this team, though. There's a lot of guts. There's a lot of effort. Iowa, great football team. It's a great place to play. It's a very hard place to play. My hat goes off to them. We're fortunate to get the victory. And most thing I know about my kids, I love them. I love this football team.
They did a heck of a job with the discipline and just bottling up Melvin Gordon on the ground game. How important was it the fact that he's improved as a pass catcher and getting him involved that way?
Well, I think we can't forget about some plays there late that Joel Stave made were unbelievable. And Melvin being to get out of the backfield was huge for us today. Caught a couple balls. You know, they were kind of in sync there. They brought the big blitz, blowing coverage, I suppose. We made a tremendous play, and then Joel scrambles to seal the deal. Unbelievable effort out of these kids.
Big game against Minnesota next week.
Yep. We'll worry about that one tomorrow.
All right, you got it, Coach. Congratulations.
All right, thanks to Gary Anderson. Thanks to Todd down on the field. Melvin Gordon ties the single-season Big Ten rushing record, and the Badgers have Big Ten championship hopes with a gutty win here on the road today.